Hi guys, it's Nicole, and today I am finally sharing my take on March's sketch. This is from the Scrapbook Cards in Today sketch class that Allison Davis is teaching and hosting over at SCT. I quickly fell behind. This is the March sketch. I ended up working on it, I want to say in like April or May. I'm just now getting the chance to edit the video, and this was a recent to me online order, and I had ordered a bunch of this summer line from Simple Stories, and originally I thought I was going to use the papers. I actually ended up pairing these die cuts and stickers from this newer line with a bunch of papers that are from older summer lines that are in my stash. It was just kind of like a mood thing. I think the newer papers, just the designs on them were a little bit different than sort of what I was wanting to use. If you are in the class, I am loosely following option, I want to say it's 16, and it's going to have 2 horizontal photos and 2 portrait photos. I was not surprised that I gravitated towards this option because I've done this style in the past a couple times, and this is a design that I personally like when you have 2 portraits and 2 landscape photos, and then you've got this fun opening in the middle that you can use to do like your title or some fun embellishing. So I will say this layout came together really quickly. I think I got the whole thing done in like an hour, which for me is almost unheard of. And I think it's because I relied on a lot of just quick process type things. When I was going through the pattern papers, I kept noticing that there was a couple that I was just like, I don't really love this one. Like, let's keep looking. And I kind of had to stop myself and say, like, I can't keep bypassing this paper and sort of allowing it to live here rent free in a sense. Like, let's try to think about this. So I decided to use the one that has like the pinwheels. That it's an okay pattern. It's just not my favorite, and I know based on my style and my personal preferences, I am not very likely gonna reach for it to cut it into strips, do background stuff, anything like that. So for me, it made more sense to actually use it as the background and then cut down my white cardstock to mat it and just kind of do that fun like layered frame look. From there, I grabbed this pink tone on tone that I had already cut into this a couple times. So I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and mat this whole thing. Then I don't have to keep moving around the photos. And doing these just like simple, like big square frames, to me saves a lot of time as far as paper choices. Not a lot of small pieces to sort of manage and attach down to the layout, so that took a lot of time away. I did decide to go ahead and rough up the edges, but you guys, I cannot do, like, I see people all the time, they use like their fingernail or the scissors. For me, it's a texture and a sound thing. I absolutely cannot do it. It's like nails on a chalkboard. I can kind of use this little like tool. I have one from Close to My Heart. The Tim Holtz one that I have seems to be identical. If it's a large enough piece like this, I can get it to work. I can't get it to work on little pieces. I think I talked about this in the Be Mine video with the little triangles. Like, it doesn't work on little pieces like that. But I wanted a little something, and I didn't want to stitch. I didn't want to ink. I didn't want to stitch. I wanted quick fun and just kind of playing with pre-made product instead of doing a bunch of like die cutting and having fun being creative that way. So I was like, okay, I kind of want to cover up all of this pink. I wasn't really loving it like being in the middle, and then I kind of kept changing my mind on what I wanted to put in the middle. I did absolutely love this little sticker that said something fun. I'll be able to read it when I flip it over, because overall the design of this little phrase is square shaped. So to me, it was like a perfect fit to squeeze that in there. And I did kind of like, the square in the middle is square. My photos are square, all the mats are square. So I did kind of want to start breaking that up a little bit, which I'm sure is probably why I reached for that sun. I just kind of wanted to have a little bit of interest sort of peeking out from behind this summer fun phrase. And I'm just kind of looking at color and shape, not paying a whole lot of attention. Just, I try things, I either like it or I don't like it. A lot of times when I'm working on just like a quick design like this, I try to make my decisions quick as well. Knowing that all of this is new, nothing has been used, it's a little overwhelming when you've got everything sort of at your disposal. So I try to just kind of focus on what I'm drawn to instantly and kind of run with that. Now, I cut my journaling strips, and my intention was to kind of nestle them into the, I guess you would call it like the negative space on that photo where there's just a bunch of grass. And originally I thought, okay, I'm just going to kind of size them to a size that I normally use. I'll find somewhere to put them. I could not find anywhere to put them. That's when I kind of kept looking at that negative space. And I ended up just really carefully cutting my journaling strips in half with a pair of scissors all the way through the foam, and made it super narrow. And I'm just gonna kind of stack them over this grass area. You can still see the dog, you can still see my daughter in the background, you still get the overall effect of sort of this wide shot, and you're not missing anything on the photo. And to me, this just, it fit better. I can't remember where the journaling was depicted on the sketch, but again, it was one of those things where I'd already printed it, I'm going to make it work, I'm going to figure something out, and we're going to kind of go from there. Now, again, I think I'm pretty sure it's option 16, and basically you've got kind of just those corner clusters diagonal from each other. With stuff like that, I try not to use the super thin stickers that come in those sticker books. I absolutely love how many stickers you get, but to me, I prefer to use those if I'm like building a scene or something, not where it's gonna kind of go over a bunch of different layered pattern paper. They're thin, so a lot of times you can see the pattern paper through them, and then they kind of mush themselves down onto all the different layers, and they don't look flat anymore. So I kind of moved over to the die cuts and was looking for some florals in there and some different things. If I'm going to tuck something, odds are I prefer to just cut it in half, because then that's going to give me almost double the amount of florals. If the majority of the flower is going to stick out, then I don't bother cutting it in half. I'll just kind of tuck a little bit here and there. And I just kind of bounced around between the cardstock sheet, the sticker book, and the die cuts. I did use the florals from the sticker book, are the ones that are down right now that are on that striped paper. You can see a little bit through the florals, but because the majority of that area is flat, I'm okay with that. Everything else that's on top is going to be a thicker weight, like from the cardstock sheet or from the die cut pack. And sometimes I add a little bit of foam adhesive. I absolutely love these foam strips from scrapbook.com. I've talked about them forever. I will forever recommend them. They're so good. I use them for strips. I use them behind stickers. Like, I just like the thickness of them. And then I just found some things that kind of made sense for this event, which this was technically a field trip. It's to the park next door to our school that most years the kids get to go to the splash pad like the day before the last day of school type of thing, where they just kind of get to go play in the water for an hour, popsicles, that kind of thing, and just kind of hang out. So I knew I wasn't going to have like a lot of water themed things. So I just kind of went with things that were bright and fun and sort of fit into creating like a corner frame. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys here and get back to finding more videos that I have been avoiding editing. So I always appreciate you guys taking the time to stop by, and I'll catch you later.